Hi everyone, I'm here to talk about Bungie's new extraction shooter, Marathon.
Enemy spotted.
Found him.
Hey, that's pretty good.
Watch out, watch out, watch out!
Holy shit, dude. Alright guys, let's be on our best behavior. Hey chat, welcome.
I've participated in a few playtests for this game and I'm excited to finally be able to talk about it. Marathon is a PvPvE extraction shooter that currently features 4 playable runners. These are Glitch, Locust, Blackbird, and Void. You're primarily going to see Glitch focused gameplay because that's who I gravitated to. This first kit gives you a good idea of what kind of gear your first few games will entail. I have a green backpack, which is just one step above the base bag, and a green shield, which gives me 2 shield ticks instead of 1. My primary weapon equipped here is the Overrun AR. I'm gonna be brutally honest here, this weapon is ass. I can't stand it. Runners go into raids and complete contracts for factions, much like Tarkov's traders. Runners will also loot, complete in-raid objectives around the map for more credits, and extract or die trying. Extractions can be found simply by opening your map and finding the symbol. If you have a successful exfil, you can keep your treasure, turn in your completed contract, and accept another from whichever faction you feel like working with that day. The current factions available for unlock are New Caloric, Cyber Acme, and Traxxas. Each faction has their own introduction as you progress through their tasks, and I highly recommend taking a moment to familiarize yourself with each one, as you will soon find that each faction has its own tree of upgrades for your runner. These upgrades are very important and will directly impact how powerful your runner or vault size will be. Upgrades can include things like vault capacity, aka how much you can hoard.
Okay. Oh my god, just let me loot!
Heat capacity, how long you can sprint or jump before you overheat, and a lot of other things. If you are an upgrade Andy like me, you are going to want to focus on gathering the mats required for the upgrades over other quote-unquote valuable in-game loot like I do. Looting in this game is pretty cut and dry. You can find loose loot around on the ground or in containers. These containers can blend in pretty well with the environment, but thankfully they have a slight outline around them when you look at them to indicate that they are in fact lootable. There are a variety of containers that focus certain loot types. Spoiler alert and big hint for those who are going to dive into this game: if you are struggling with getting new weapons, go to field maintenance on Dire Marsh and loot weapon lockers. I sincerely wish I knew that when I first started playtesting this game. Also, if they change that on release, not my fault.
Oh, brother, this guy stinks!
Anyway, a wide variety of loot can be found. This includes heals, stems, materials, valuables, weapon mods, and more. You can tell what kind of item you've looted by hovering over it. Going back to upgrades for a moment, you need a wide variety of mats for different upgrades. One thing I love about this game is when you hover over a certain mat, it will actually tell you what compounds you can primarily find that material in. That doesn't mean you can't find them elsewhere, but knowing where to go really helps when you're grinding mats for a specific upgrade. A quick note about weapon mods. As of this last playtest I did, you cannot remove weapon mods. If you mod a weapon, that mod is now permanently placed on that weapon. If you find a better mod and wish to replace the same mod component, you can, but it will destroy the one that is currently in that slot. I'm not a huge fan of this, but I'm hoping they change it or come up with a different system for it. I had a few times when I accidentally placed a weapon mod on the wrong gun and got stuck with leaving it on that weapon. There's 4 weapon mod types, and I don't think these are the official names, but I call them scopes, barrels, chips, and magazines. Alongside weapons, we need to prep ourselves for when we get hit. We need heals. There are so many consumables in this game for various situations, but right now I'm just going to focus and explain your 2 primary heals. These are patch kits and shield charges. Patch kits heal your actual HP that is lost, and shield charges re-up your shields after they've taken damage. I currently have the base tier of these in my backpack for raid, but there are higher tiers available to find in raid, and eventually to purchase. For example, this gray tier shield charge will only heal 1 tick of my shields. So if I only have 1 shield, or even 2 honestly, This makes sense to bring. Eventually, when you're running bigger shields, you want the higher tier shield charges that heal a bigger chunk at a time. So you're saving valuable time in raid. Again, these are things that you can loot around the map and eventually purchase when you've unlocked higher tiers of meds to buy. This brings us back to the faction upgrade trees. I am once again expressing the importance of these upgrade trees in each faction page because they include upgrading the quality of items you can purchase from the black market. When you first start the game, you are very limited in what you can buy from the market. It's usually a gray weapon or two and very basic meds or consumables. As you upgrade, you will access higher tier guns, mods, implants, heals, and more. Now let's talk about some modifications you can make to your runner stats. These are called runner implants. There are a variety of implants you can find for your runner, and I don't know the exact terminology, but you can put them on your legs, arms, chest, and I think maybe somewhere else. This is where you can get really crazy. Implants impact your runner's base stats. For example, if you find an implant that has plus 50 heat capacity, boy oh boy, are you gonna be running for days. Implants vary in rarity by color, much like the other loot in game. Highest to lowest order is gold, purple, blue, green, then gray or white. Implants are a large part of the game and you can get some crazy builds going with some of them. I don't know if this is technically an implant, but one of the most important modifications you can make on your runner is your shield. Better shields means you can tank more bullets, and who doesn't want to be able to do that? Green shields will be fairly easy to come by early on, but when you start getting blue and purple shields, you are a lot harder to put down. So cherish those treasures when you find them. I very quickly want to talk about some things I didn't interact with much in this footage, and those are other consumables in the game. It can seem quite overwhelming, and a lot of them are pretty easy to ignore, but these can be pretty useful when fighting other runners or UESC. For example, mechanics kits and OS reboots can combat things like toxins, EMP, and other negative status effects. Some of these effects make your heal time way longer, so having some of these kits can be really beneficial to clearing those so you're not at a disadvantage when trying to heal in fights. I didn't mess around with them much, and I can't really remember what prevents what, but I do urge you to do some research on them and get used to having them handy. I definitely had a fight or two where I had negative effects and I went down a lot faster. Another kind of consumable is cardio kick. This is great if you just want to run. It essentially can make slower runners able to keep up with very fast runners like Glitch. So if you want to play a tank and be fast, you can just stack those and have the best of both worlds.
Let's go ahead and talk about my favorite runner, Glitch.
Glitch is an agile character with one goal: vertical movement. Glitch's primary ability is called Amplify. This significantly increases your heat capacity and speed. She can run faster for a longer amount of time. Her tactical ability is called Disruptor. This can be extremely powerful in PvP interactions, and I'm still trying to train my brain to remember to use it in fights. It pushes a gust of air, sort of, and can knock back enemies. I legitimately had so many fights during this playtest that would have been way easier if I had just remembered to use this ability. So please don't let your Tarkov brain take over when you play this game. Just use your damn abilities. They're there for a reason and they help you. She also has a really powerful advantage over runners because her microjets give her a double jump. So she can actually get to most spots a lot easier than other runners can. I'm pretty sure she can get to spots that some other runners can't get to at all. Lastly, she has a power slide, which is the same as your crouch button. And I'm gonna be honest, I hope I can kind of rebind this when the game comes out, because I cannot tell you how many times I was just trying to crouch into a vent going from sprint and I hit crouch and just slammed into the wall because I accidentally power slid. Can be very, very useful if you get used to using the buttons at the correct time. I never mastered that. Let's talk about some of the AI that you will face in this game. The enemies here are called UESC, which stands for the Unified Earth Space Council. They are simply doing their job and we're doing ours. The enemies in this game vary in difficulty. You'll find some wandering mini bosses with guards around the map, and a big variation with some compounds. The UESC have gone through a multitude of changes in difficulty over each playtest I've done, and I feel like they're in a pretty good spot now. but they will take some getting used to in terms of how to handle them. If you are a stand still and shoot gamer like me, you are going to have a hard time. One of these little demons will walk up to you if you're down and just start sucking the life out of you with these weird robot tentacles. It's pretty terrifying. My least favorite UESC is Grenade Gary. No, that is not the official name, that's just what I call him. He shoots grenades at you and they hurt. Most of the UESC are fairly easy to take down, it just requires a lot of movement. If one of these bad boys manages to get close to you, they will punch you in the throat and it takes a lot of health. So keep your distance, move around, and you'll be fine. These guys are spread all over the map and will respawn. If you clear an area and stick around too long, reinforcements will come. Someone briefly mentioned there being like a narc bot that calls out for reinforcement if it's not killed in a timely manner, but I haven't quite figured out if that's real or not, or what they even look like.
A unit is signaling for reinforcements.
Uh-oh.
Keep in mind, this is a great way to track enemy runners. If you see ships dropping off reinforcements in a compound, that means there is a team there. Before I forget, I do want to briefly comment on what I found to be the most effective playstyle in this game. Once you learn spawns, pushing spawns and catching runners off guard is highly effective. But if you don't know what to do when you first start, just try not to aggro any UESC, find a semi-safe spot, and just listen for the first shots. There's a lot of third partying that happens in this game, and it's generally the quietest team that comes out on top, at least when we're all running pretty bad gear. A lot of times in a match, we'd listen for shots, try to get some height, and snipe a different compound where we could hear shots. I love sniping in this game. I legitimately feel like I am one with my sniper sometimes. That does not mean that I always hit my shots. I definitely miss a lot. But my favorite loadout so far has been the Bully SMG with a long shot sniper on my back. Even if I'm just running gray versions of these, I'm in heaven. I just feel like I've got something for every situation. Also kind of random, but I like Glitch because she's a gap closer. Our team would get away with kind of two of us holding back sniping while Stank would push up stealth as Void. And that's because you can have the second teammate there so quickly. We would just wait to get a pick and then push forward before a res could happen. This didn't always happen, but we did find it to be pretty effective. I didn't mess around with a lot of weapons in this footage. One note I had for the game this last playtest was the availability of gray stock weapons in the black market. I'm not a huge fan of only having access to a couple at level 1. I like the idea of having one of each weapon type accessible since they aren't modified and are still stock weapons. And I'm hoping that ends up coming into play. Because we're talking about weapons again, I'm going to use this as an opportunity to once again express the importance of, you guessed it, upgrade trees. Guess what else the upgrade trees do? They give you the ability to buy weapon mods. They also give you access to a variety of consumables, which we talked about earlier. But more specifically, they give you a bigger variety of throwables. Throwables are very powerful in this game. I cannot tell you how many times a chem light grenade ruined my day. My teammate would res me, an enemy runner would just toss one of those on me and I'd insta down again because they just eat your health. And you're just sitting in a pool of acid, so why wouldn't it eat your health? Again, my Tarkov brain had me conditioned to just use grenades to make people move, but you should just be using them constantly in this game. They can really cripple fights or help create space for you to back up and heal. Right now, I think that the chem light grenade's probably the most OP, and I do expect a lot of people to be using those whenever the game comes out. Guys, I'm gonna be honest, after my first playtest of the game, I was very unsure on if I was gonna care to play it again. I kind of hated it, but the art style was so unique for an extraction shooter. I really wanted to see it do well. Going into the second playtest, I was still a bit wary, but had an open mind, and I'm really glad I did. I saw a lot of our feedback being implemented, and the game started kind of coming together for me. This latest playtest still leaves me with this note: the game can be better than it is currently, but it is still a fantastic game with all of the ingredients for success. I was lucky enough to be heavily involved in the process of seeing it evolve, and I'm excited to continue to do so. But I can confidently say that even if I was never paid to test this game and give my input, I would pick it up and play it where it is today. It's funny, a lot of my feedback came from comparing it to Tarkov, a game that I hate to love and love to hate. And I absolutely do not want this game to be Tarkov, but Tarkov has a certain appeal that is hard for a lot of extraction shooters to capture. And I think that this game, I think Marathon has created its own unique essence that will make people want to play. That being said, it needs to have prox chat. As of this last playtest, it did not have it. There's just been such a large shift in content over the past few years, and people just aren't as interested in seeing highlight reels and crazy Chad gameplay. People want organic interactions, fun, unique moments, and Prox Chat is a really great tool to provide that, and I really hope they implement it in the future.
Thank you guys so much for checking this video out. I know this is a pretty big leap from my normal content style. I've never really done voiceover scripted gaming content before, so forgive me if my thoughts weren't very organized. I have so many thoughts on the game, and I have a lot of info that I'm trying to pack into this video. So I hope you found it somewhat informative. That being said, I plan on releasing more marathon videos this week. So if you have any questions you'd like answered, please put them in the comments and I will do my best to go over any additional info that wasn't covered in this one. And don't forget to subscribe to get updates for when those come out. See ya!